The honourable member for Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan.
Madam Speaker, JFK purportedly said once that victory has 1,000 fathers, but defeat is an orphan. From this, we can gather that the decision to hire GC Strategies to build the ArriveCan app was a failure because nobody will admit to being the one responsible. Nobody wants to claim the parentage of this terrible, terrible decision. Conservatives have been persistently prosecuting this case of the Arrive scam scandal. This government spent $54 million. They contracted GC Strategies to build the ArriveCan app. They spent $54 million on it. The RCMP are now investigating some of the contractors involved. And we have asked repeatedly a simple question, which is who is the person that is responsible for the decision to hire GC Strategies? Now, this is a two-person company. Nobody in the company does any IT work. All they do is receive the contract and then subcontract it. They go on LinkedIn, they send messages to people asking them to do the work. They don't do any of the work themselves. They just receive the contract and subcontract it. It's like if you, Madam Speaker, hired me for $100 to paint your fence, and then I went and hired another member to paint the fence for $50. They did the work, you paid me, and I collected a whole bunch of money in the middle. That is essentially how GC Strategies operated in this case and in other cases. They don't have the people or the capacity to do the actual work. So by all indication, it was a terrible decision to spend enormous amounts of public money through GC Strategies for this overpriced, glitchy, ineffective app. We have all kinds of things that have come out in the discussion of this issue. We have doctored resumes that have, in another case, been presented to the Government of Canada. We have systemic questions about how the procurement process works. We also have now senior public servants accusing each other of lying about who made the decision. And this is quite incredible. We have senior public servant Cameron McDonald and Min Doan accusing each other of lying about who made the decision to go with GC Strategies. So again, we have repeatedly in this House and in committee, and I put the questions to the Minister for Procurement yesterday, he didn't answer, who is the person that was responsible for this decision? Under this government, under this Liberal NDP government over the last 8 years, we've seen how everything is broken, but nobody is responsible. Apparently, anything that goes wrong is nobody's responsibility. Again, as JFK said, victory has 1,000 fathers, but defeat is an orphan. There are a lot of orphans, according to this government. We didn't make that decision. That was external factors. But this was a decision of government, of someone in government. Somebody decided that this two-man company working out of their basement doing no IT work, someone decided that they were the right people to build this app. They were the right people through which to spend $54 million. And we will continue to ask the government this simple question. Who is responsible for this decision? Who made the decision? Was it a minister? Was it the Minister of Public Safety? Was it the Minister for Procurement? Was it a particular senior official? We have senior officials actually accusing each other of lying, saying, oh, it wasn't me, it wasn't me, it was that guy, it was that guy. But this government is ultimately responsible for the decisions that are made while they are in power. They have been in power for 8 years. Simple question. Who made the decision? I hope the Parliamentary Secretary will answer. Who made the decision to choose GC Strategies to build the ArriveCan app? Who made the decision?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. And I always find it interesting in terms of the member opposite, and he'll take an issue, whatever that issue might be, and then he'll associate it with whether it's the Prime Minister or the government, and then he'll add on the end of it scandal. And he is very consistent at doing that. It doesn't matter, Madam Speaker, to what degree it's factual, but he insists on always putting the word scandal and then trying to associate it with the government. I'm not saying that there's no wrongdoings, Madam Speaker. In fact, when the member asked the question and the minister responded, let me quote what it is that the minister indicated. Indicated that, and I quote, "What I am happy to explain to the House is how seriously our government takes allegations of inappropriate behavior with taxpayers' money and contracting or subcontracting. We are obviously very pleased that the committee is looking into this matter. We are pleased that the Auditor General is also seized with this question. We are also pleased that the Canada Border Services Agency, when these issues came to light, took the appropriate action with internal reviews and, as was appropriate, referred any and all of these circumstances to the appropriate authorities. Madam Speaker, as the Minister clearly indicated, we take the allegations very seriously, and the government is determined to support the work, whether it's the auditor or the standing committee on the matter, and at some point in time, and hopefully sooner as opposed to later, we will see allegations substantiated, or we'll get to the bottom of the issue, and the government is committed to addressing it. The member opposite, and I don't know who, but was provided a letter, and I thought it was kind of an interesting letter that was dated from October, and I don't know if it was the member himself, but someone actually asked for the RCMP to come before the committee, one of the standing committees, a member from the RCMP, and I think it was addressed to the Standing Committee of Government Operations and Estimates. The member looks a little puzzled, so I'm not too sure if he's aware of it. Maybe it's a document that's possibly another committee. I'm not really 100% sure. But the bottom line is that in the letter signed off by the RCMP, indicating that that they understood that the Standing Committee on Government Operations and Estimates has adopted a motion calling for the appearance, among others, Sergeant Kim Chamberlain, in respect to reports that the RCMP is investigating allegations of misconduct by 3 companies involved in the development of the Arrive Can app. Contrary to the public reporting, the RCMP is not investigating the Arrive Can matter. And then it just goes on and just doesn't, in essence, say that they think that that person would be able to contribute positively or in any way to the committee. I don't know how that was ultimately resolved. I just come by this particular letter, and I'm curious to know whether or not it was that particular member or if he is aware of the facts with respect to that. But suffice to say, Madam Speaker, as I started my comments, that the government is, in fact, being very diligent in going through the process and ensuring that the tax dollars are, in fact, protected.
Honourable member for Sherwood Park, Saskatchewan.
Madam Speaker, in typical fashion, the member has delivered a word salad to the House of Commons that has absolutely nothing to do with a question that I asked. Somebody in this government made a decision to hire GC Strategies to produce ArriveCan. Somebody made that decision, clearly. The decision was made, so someone had to make it. Now, I didn't ever at any point say who made that decision, but I asked the government to tell us who made that decision, who was responsible for that decision. And frankly, the more they refuse to answer this basic question, the more guilty they look. My question is very simple. With senior public servants accusing each other of lying about this matter, with aspersions being cast back and forth, the House, the public has a right to know. $54 million were spent on this app. Who made the decision to hire GC Strategies? Who made the decision to hire GC Strategies to build the ArriveCan app? Who made the decision?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary, the Government House Leader.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. First and foremost, the Government of Canada, the Minister in question, has made it very clear that we take the allegations very seriously. We are very much concerned whenever there are tax dollars that are being inappropriately expended. At the end of the day, these are tax dollars. They're very important dollars, and the government is determined in order to be able to get to the bottom of this, and we will. And there will be a consequence, Madam Speaker. And, there is billions and billions of dollars that is spent every year by government, whether it's directly or indirectly through agencies, and the government does the best it can in terms of ensuring that there's a high sense of accountability for civil servants. Lots of number of allegations have been made. We will get to the bottom of it, and there will be consequences, just consequences.
The order, there is no time for other interventions from the honourable member.